Being recorded.
An interesting experience today. In fact, if I hadn't been following the news, at least my experiences over the last couple of years, I wouldn't know that there's any Jew hatred out there. So I took a car in today to be serviced. And I was wearing basically what I'm wearing right now. I do not take stuff off. I mean, I wear my yarmulke. Sometimes I don't always wear my tzitzit, but a lot of times I do, especially when the weather gets, a little bit colder. And as I was going to the car outside of the service center, a gentleman comes up to me and says, "You're Jewish?" I said, yes, I am. He goes, "I just want you to know that in our church, we support everything you're doing, and we support your efforts." They had a visitor, I wish I could remember the guy's name, from Israel that talked to them, big church, Amir. I think the last name began with an SH or something. But he was talking to them about what's going on in Israel and how they're struggling, of course, and how security has gone up. And, they're trying to get the hostages back, but at the same time, he says, you just can't give in too much. Because if you give in too much, it's going to happen all over again. And I've heard this time and time again. But this isn't the only time this has happened to me. My wife and I go out to, we have a little place in San Clemente we've had for years. It was an investment place. So I'm in Ralph's one day, wearing a yarmulke, wearing shorts. I think I have my tzitzit on. The gentleman comes up to me. He says, "Excuse me, may I ask you a question?" "Yeah, go ahead." He goes, "How does it feel to be, God's favorite?" I forget exactly what the adjective was, but favored or no, it wasn't chosen. He didn't say chosen.
Yeah.
He said, it's how does it feel to be special or something like that? And I looked at him and I said, we're all special. We're all special. That's just the way it is. All of us. And so I guess the point I'm making is that there is a lot of support out there for us. There's a lot more, I think, than we think. So, if I've gone on Instagram and, they got these bots, right? And they give you more what you look at. And I get a lot of stuff from, do you all know who Noah Tishby is? She's an actress. She's an Israeli-American actress. She's a producer. And she's a big, big advocate. She's been Israel's ambassador against anti-Semitism. She's always got videos on. And she's talking about what's going on in Syria, what's really happening. You had some American guy talking about where was everybody when Syria was bombing the Arabs there, when they were harassing she was talking about the Bedouins and the Druze, how the Syrian-backed Bedouins. And it's amazing all the positive or all the favorable stuff for us. So it's that old saying, the squeaky wheel is what's getting the grease. That's what's going on. And I know that a lot of it's centered in college campuses because that's where people are most impressionable. Right? One of the things this gentleman and I were talking about is, when we were growing up in the 60s and everybody was protesting Vietnam, the war, not the people. I mean, you respected people that served the country, you do. There were some idiots that didn't, but most of us did, okay? It is what it was. So, but today it's kind of gone off the rails because kids today just, when you're 17, 18, 19, you want to make the world a better place. Of course, in order to do that, you need some facts, you need some information. But the point is that all the things, I'm starting to realize that a lot of the stuff that we're hearing is perpetrated by people that want to sell news. And the reason I'm saying this, and the reason I'm pointing this out, is because I think, from what I've seen anyway, a lot of the world is a lot more favorable to us than the media would have you believe. It's an uphill battle for them. And I think it's going to come crashing down because people understand, sensible people understand what's going on, and there is a lot of support for us. Down in the area where we live, we're here in Temecula, we've had rallies, and a lot of those people have been Christians supporting us. So I'm going to leave you with the thought that, take what you see on TV, all the crowds and the hundreds of thousands of people that are out there with the flags and everything. It's a small, I think it's a small minority. Not real small, but it's a vocal. It's a vocal. Yeah, I think it is, Barbara. I really do. I really do. And even law enforcement's on our side. They're like, you want to protest peacefully, fine, go for it. But you see what some of these are end up happening, and I'm not going to go into the depth of what they think, but just let it be said that there is, it's not as bad as I think a lot of us have been led to believe. So I do believe, especially as a rabbi and as a Jew, somebody who's been Jewish all my life, that God's watching over us, And even in the last Pinchas, right? What is he? Balak. He says, "Those that bless you will be blessed; those that curse you will be cursed." And I'm going to leave you with that because I think we're going to see it happen again.